lovely YouTubers. So today we are going to be talking about pots. There's black pots, there's plastic, there's net, there's wood, there's all sorts of different pots. Kind of reminds me of that every time I say pots, I think of that song by Lil Jon. It's like pots, 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 pots. Everybody, pots, pots. So first one we're going to talk about is your very holy, not that kind of holy, but it's got a lot of holes in it. These kind of pots are awesome for your epiphytes and also for orchids that like a lot of air movement, just like the epiphytes, like a lot of air movement around their roots, and they like to dry out. So this one here is a Cattleya, and I've potted it in this pot. You can get it at Lowe's. I think they still have them there. It's like 10 bucks. Not bad, and it's heavy. I like the weight. We get a lot of wind here, and so my pots tend to tip over. So with the heavier ones, I don't have to worry about that as much. So this Cattleya is loving this little pot. Unfortunately, the only downside that I really have, the only vice for these guys, is that the roots, I don't know if you can see right there, the roots come out of the holes and they'll curl themselves around the holes, and when you want to repot it, you're gonna have to break those roots, and I hate breaking roots, but you gotta do what you gotta do. But this pot is big enough that I won't have to repot this Cattleya for probably 2 years, because this is all fresh bark inside of here. It's not so much the size of the Cattleya, but the breakdown of the medium. I know that Orchid is a really good mixture, from what I've heard. I've never actually used it. I've been using bark, but I am going to switch to Orchid because you don't have to repot your orchids as much. Also going to be repotting into lava rock. Lava rock is a great medium because you don't have to replace it as often, obviously, because, you know, it's rocks. They don't break down, except over, you know, millions of years. Anyways, so that's the first kind of pot I wanted to show you guys. Another kind of pot, this is another Cattleya, different pot though. This one is potted in a clear plastic pot. Your epiphytes photosynthesize through their roots, so it is also a viable option. You can see this medium is actually starting to break down. I'm going to have to repot this guy next year. But he does have some nice green roots. That's what I like about the clear plastic pots, is that you can see what's going on under the medium. So really great for those who tend to overwater. If you're one of those, get yourself a plastic pot, because then you can see what's going on. You can see if the roots are dry. If they're dry, they'll tend to take on that whitish color, and then when they're green, or this is actively growing, but they'll also turn green when they get wet. So I really do like the plastic pots. This one, however, is probably not going to stay in a plastic pot. Just because my climate, it gets so humid and stays wet that I don't like plastic, because they retain a lot of moisture. Typically I'll only use the plastic pots for my Cattleya because they love all of that moisture. Cattleyas though, they like to dry out in between waterings, so I'll probably repot this guy into a terracotta pot. So that'll be the next one that we talk about. Another Cattleya. This is a terracotta pot, and I've added some holes here for extra aeration, and you can see this guy, he's loving it in here. This is actually a division, so he does look kind of crappy, but trust me, he's got a lot of nice green, healthy roots going on below the medium. So terracotta, it'll actually wick away excess moisture. So for your Cattleyas or for other orchids that like to dry out in between waterings, this is a great pot for them, because that terracotta, it wicks away the excess moisture. So another pot that we'll talk about is just a plain plastic pot. You can get these for super cheap. I love them. Don't be afraid to use just a regular plastic pot. It's got holes in the bottom, but no holes in the sides. And as you can see here, I've got a little Cattleya potted in this plastic pot. He's loving it in there. Look at him. I like the plastic pots because they're cheap and because they hold moisture. So I put my Cattleya in here. I also have Paphiopedilums potted in plastic pots. And I also have a a I just can't talk today. A Phalaenopsis potted in a plastic pot. So, that's what we'll talk about next, is a Phalaenopsis. It is potted in a net pot. So you can see there the roots coming out of the net pot. Again, because it has the holes, the roots, they're probably going to come out, and so you'll have to break off those roots whenever you are repotting. Or if you really don't want to break the roots off, you want to save those orchid roots, you can cut the plastic pot away from the orchid. I'm not really worried about it. So you can see this one has some mechanical damage on the leaves there, and then some slug damage there. We'll be talking about pests and fungal diseases in my next video. So there you go. Phalaenopsis potted in a net pot. He loves it in there. Look at all those nice healthy roots hanging out. So the next one we'll talk about, if I can put this guy, that's another thing too, is that because his roots are coming out of the bottom, I can't just set him on a table. I have to hang him, so that's kind of annoying. Next kind of pot that we'll talk about, it's not in by any sense of the word you know, a pot like you would think of. It's actually a wooden box. It is a slat basket. You can use these, are great for vandas that like to have their roots out in the open. Hey, I'm out here sort of thing. I'll be potting my catasetums in one of these because I am curious how they'll do. I'll also be potting a Cattleya. I got 2 of these. I'll be potting a Cattleya in one of these, and I'll give you guys updates on the wooden slat boxes. But these are awesome. You will never, I guess I shouldn't say never, but if you overwater an orchid in this, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Seriously, look at all those holes, and the wind just blows through there. I mean, these are awesome if you tend to overwater. And they're cheap. That one was only $6. So, now I also wanted to talk about, I recently went to an orchid show. Awesome. I love orchid shows because that's a great place where you can pick up new orchids. You can learn a lot from the growers, and you get to see specimen orchids that people have been growing for years and years. You get to see those on display. So really, really cool. And I actually picked up an orchid there. Here it is. I'll be, oh, it's breaking off actually, so I don't have to worry about that. I'll just go ahead and break this off. So a leaf that's just, it might be natural sinensis, or it also might be the a fungal kind of thing. A little bit of sunburn right there, as you can see. I'm not worried about it though, because the new lead that's right here, as you can see, it was in flower, had to cut that flower. But the new lead is nice and healthy, so I'm not worried about what's going on behind the scenes. So these are the older pseudobulbs. I only care about the new pseudobulbs when it comes to bacterial infections or, you know, sunburn, something like that. So this one is a SLC Pat Thrall. It's an LC Bonanza Queen and Circle of Life. So there you go. Very beautiful flower. I wish I could have kept it, but I had to get on a plane and I had to put this inside of my suitcase, so I had to cut the flower. But it was really, really pretty. I can't wait for it to bloom again. So I'll post some pictures of the orchid show that I went to at the end of the video in case you don't want to see those pictures, but trust me, they're really cool, some great specimen plants, so at the end of this video, check them out. Now I also wanted to point out this big guy behind me, and I'll let you guys get a better look at him. He is a bat flower, the coolest flower ever. Oh my goodness, I wish it were an orchid. It is not. It is a tropical plant. It lives in very, very, very low light levels on the bottom of the forest floor. So I'm really excited to grow him. I've been wanting one of these things forever. So check him out. So another look at the pots from this video. You can see the net basket right there with the Phalaenopsis, the terracotta pot here, the plastic pot with the catasetum inside of it, and another terracotta pot, this time with holes for the Cattleya, and the plastic pot where you can see the roots of the orchid. I really like those pots, probably one of my favorites, and just a decorative pot with holes in it, and then also the wooden slat basket there. Now, just a little bit of an update. Wanted to update you guys on the division that I purchased off of eBay, and I just wanted to show you guys how quickly this thing is growing. Look at those beautiful roots. So I'm very excited. The modified version of the Svagenbag, it is awesome. So there they are. And then that other division in there, once I get at least 100 subscribers, I will be giving away that other division. It is growing new roots and a new pseudobulb, so stay tuned. And if you like this video, please like it and also subscribe to my channel. I will check you guys out later. Bye.